This is Hannibal here with our weekly UFO report podcast with none other than the UFO Tarheel. Casey, how are you doing today, sir? LFG.
Yeah, doing good. Had a week off there, so got to recharge the batteries. But yeah, it's been busy as usual in this topic space, right?
Well, it's Contact in the Desert week this week. So big week. I saw Ross Coulthart's there. I interviewed a lot of the guests going into it. Couldn't make it this year, maybe next year. Have you ever thought about going to that? The biggest convention in the U.S. For UFOs, for anyone that doesn't know.
Yeah, let's go, man. Let's get this booth set up out there or something.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah, maybe next year. I mean, every Friday, guys, 11 p.m. Eastern. Casey's been doing us some AI animation. But what's the latest this week? I've watched a few documentaries here and there, but I've been mostly focused on wrestling this week. So let's get up to date here.
Yeah, yeah. Man, I mean, kind of taking a step back to, um, what we started out with this initial podcast, right? Which was, um, people with prophecies, right? Prophets, and we were calling them UFO prophets, and um, looking at what they're saying and what's going on, and trying to keep check of it, right? So one of the most recent things that's happened within the last day or so is Ross Coulthart is he's back at it again. And I'm sorry, I may have to. I'm gonna watch this light bulb. I have a light bulb in the room that just started flickering. Isn't that funny? We started. I guess it's. I
Yeah,
may
I
have to disconnect
mean,
a minute and go and take care of it. But if it becomes a distraction, I'll I'll go
maybe
and hook it.
maybe there's a connection there. Lisa McAllister said she'd come see us at Contact in the Desert. So there you go. All kinds of wacky characters there.
But yeah,
That's where
aliens.
they should do, by the way. That's where they should do their mass sighting. If they want to be seen, all the alien lovers are going to be out there this weekend at Contact in the Desert. But you could wait till we get there next year so we can get it on tape.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, sorry that distracted me, and I may have to take care of it. But anyways, we'll try to keep rolling here. But yeah, Ross Coulthart, he's back in prophecy news, right? And he's saying that he's hearing from his contacts that we are on borrowed time, and something big is going to happen in 2027. Um, and people are telling him from inside the intelligence community that they know something that we have a right to know as a people. Man, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could look at it one or two ways. He's got people on the inside pushing his buttons and telling him things to get him to say stuff because they know he's got a big following. He's probably one of the top 3 names in ufology right now. But um, you know, just like I texted you a while ago, and we've covered this before, there is an interesting angle here as well of, is there something going on where this thing is the light flickering thing is driving me insane. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna keep watching. It stops, and then I think about not bothering it. But one
Nice
of
hat,
my
by the way. I got to get myself one of those hats.
yeah, but oh yeah, this is like off Prime or something. So you have me on because you say I'm never selling anything. So I will get you the brand. It's up here on my box, but these are on Prime, so they're a really good brand. Um, it's kind of even got the cool bill on here. It's got UFOs. Okay, I'm gonna go freaking take care of that light. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, Casey's doing that. You guys can let me know what subjects you want us to cover in this podcast. I've been watching quite a few documentaries this week. Nothing really stands out to me as huge news for the week, other than, of course, Ross Coulthart saying, "Oh, we're on borrowed time." Well, what exactly does that mean? Does this borrowed time mean that the world's going to end, that the aliens are going to come and kill us all? Or borrowed time as if we're going to get disclosure soon?
Yeah, and see, now I have so much natural light that I'm being beamed up, right? I usually go with the soft yellow lights around here, but now I'm having to go to like the natural light, so I kind of hate that. But anyways, um, but yeah, he's back in the prophecy news. Ross is, and he said this crazy stuff, and again, the theory is something going on here where, and let's just entertain it just for entertainment ideas, because me and Hannibal are trying to bring another angle, right? Anyone can just sit around and cover these guys, but an interesting angle to this whole UFO narrative is, what if this is part of a psyop? Somebody brought it up last time on our podcast, and they said, we think this whole big thing is a psyop. Well, if you pull at that thread, there is a there. Okay. What does that mean? In 2017, when they launched the Nimitz event, and that came into our public awareness, all these people are like gaining our trust. That's their point of time where they can gain our trust. And, we all know the names. I'm not going to bring them up again, but the names of the people that launched in 2017, they earned our trust, and they spent years telling us that government needs to fess up. And now all of a sudden, they're either making stupid prophecies, or they're making stupid mishaps. They're showing fake UFO photos that they know aren't UFOs, or they're doing these weird things with like these strange prophecies and stuff. And so there is this theory out there that this thing is being blown up from the inside. Something's going on. Why is this going on? Why are they doing the prophecies? So I sent you 3 notes. One was, we have another strange Coulthart prophecy, which you and I covered the first one, where hell was supposed to break loose by March 2025. It didn't. It did not break loose. Then now he's out here spewing this 2027 stuff that apparently Corbell was doing as well. We also have Skywatcher, which we'll get into later with some news about Danny Sheehan bumping heads with Skywatcher. Skywatcher releasing birds and trying to call them a Tetra class UAP. And then you constantly just have some of these mistakes that's going on in the community, like this thing that I'm hearing dubbed the LUFO. Not a UFO, a LUFO. So what is a LUFO? It's a UFO that Lou has released, where it's either a lampshade or it's a irrigation circle, and it's being dubbed a LUFO. So you heard it here first, people. If you hear LUFO, I launched it. So when you put all these things together, it's like, man, is this just being blown up from the inside just to like get us off this topic and, quit asking questions? I'm not saying I'm completely sold on that yet. I'm just saying it's an interesting thread to pull at, because there does seem to be a lot of hiccups this year. There's a lot of situations going on, setbacks, weird prophecies, and things like that. So, yeah, it's interesting to think about.
Yeah, and someone's wondering, there's information coming out towards UFOs being real. Is the government trying to sway the public that they are more real lately? Someone's
Yeah.
wondering.
Yeah, and to sway the public opinion towards UFOs. Yeah, I mean, and that's what I'm saying. It's an interesting thread, but it could also be still attached to like a video. If y'all follow me, UFO Tarheel, on TikTok or on X, I even posted that update as a reminder, and we've talked about it here on our show, about reminding people with Tom DeLonge in 2017 coming out, and he admitted that he is being pulled in by government to run communications. He said it on Rogan's podcast. I am offering the government a service. What is that service? Communication, books, documentaries, TV series. What has ramped up since 2017? Books, documentaries. It's all out there, and that could be it. It could be the other side of that, if it's not being blown up from within, and these are just mistakes that are being made, people are human, then is this something where they're getting us ready for a communication? I did notice somebody put a note there, Lisa McAllister. She asked about the Boogosphere. I did post about that. Again, if you check my X on that, you have to go under my reply section. There was a scientist that got his hands on it recently, and the picture of him is on X. Again, you would just have to look at my replies. I cannot think of his name. I'll try to look it up while we're talking here. But what was interesting about that is that with the Columbia sphere, when he is pictured with it, and I will find his name in a second, but when he is pictured with
What's it under? I'll take a screenshot.
So it is, oh my gosh, it's in Spanish. So it's like Divulgación Científica. That's my best accent I can come up with too. But it was just under my replies on X. But it is biologist Jose de los Rios Lopez. And he is standing there and he's taking a picture with the sphere. And the sphere is like this big. That's it. Like not even bigger than my head. And I got a big ass head. So if you see the picture of him there, but I post and I reply to him, and I think it's probably one of the top trending replies in that post right now, because what I did is I took a picture of the recovery video. There's a recovery video out there, and the guy's walking down in this brush to pick the sphere up off the ground, and then when he steps beside it, the sphere is bigger, like as tall as his knee. Like, so think about that. You measure ground to your knee, and he's downhill. So the sphere is laying downhill. So actually it should be below him. And it is knee height with the guy recovering it. How is something knee height? I mean, it's massive. And then now we have this picture of this guy here with supposedly the same sphere. And it's this side. It literally, he's got his hand where it's taking up one side of it here. So that bothers me. And I mean, I really want to believe this thing because there's some people connected to it that I really respect in the community, and I don't want to be disrespectful, but at the same time, I'm sorry, I just can't get past that. The thing is massive at the recovery. And then second, if you watch the video of the recovery, I have problems with it. It doesn't line up with me, not just the size thing. So Hannibal, you're getting something out of the woods and I'm filming you, and this is unbelievable and it's going to be groundbreaking, and I'm filming you. And then when you pick it up, you decide to head back into the brush with it, stay hidden in the brush, and then I'm going to stop filming and recording too. So why even film in the first place? Why even pull out your damn phone and film in the first place if all you're going to do is stop filming and then tell the guy that's recovering the object to go back into the woods? So I don't know. That just that seemed kind of weird, that part of it to me. So I don't believe that you film something amazing and then walk back into the woods with it and stop recording. And then I also have serious size problems with that sphere on the ground at recovery, and then what we're seeing now pictured. There's another picture of it too where Jaime Maussan is standing in front of it with another guy, and it's down on the ground, and man, it's not even coming up to their shin. It is seriously low to the ground. So I just don't think they're the same thing. Yeah.
And I'm seeing, for some reason, it's not letting me load it. I'm having some technical issue, but I'm seeing the exact same thing you're talking about when I search up what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So when I make a clip out of this, I'll put it up so people can see what we're talking about. It's definitely different sizes. You're correct.
It's different sizes. It's and then what are we talking about? If what was recovered in that video and what we're being shown now, and you're wanting us to talk about it, then why would we even talk about that? I mean, it doesn't make sense. You can't have it both ways. You can't say, oh, well, maybe the recovery video is fake, but this thing's real. No, it's all together. Like, this is all tied together. It's all got to be real or not. So I'm sorry, they can do all the tests on it now that they want. That's fine. We need to fix this issue of the recovery. And if they cannot clean that up and what happened there and give some explanation as to why handled that recovery the way they did, then yeah, we got some problem. Um, yeah, so that was the that's kind of the Booga sphere update. You have the Ross thing, but yeah, like talking real quick about the Skywatcher thing. If people haven't had a
What
chance,
is Ross talking about, by the way, there when he says, "Is this the end of the world?" Like what does he mean? Is where he says time is running out? Like, what do you think he means by that?
there's some calamity lying ahead in 2027 that we should know about, and some have speculated it's we're going to be dealing with like what's the movie Armageddon or Deep Impact or something like that. There's something spiraling towards us. I don't really believe that, and the reason why is because we have a lot of people who have um, who watch the skies, who study comets and asteroids and things like that, and it's not government controlled. So they would have to be seriously doing some major control of a lot of universities and a lot of private entities that have their own telescopes and things like that. Somebody, look, 40 years ago, okay. But nowadays, I just don't see them controlling the sky that much in government to keep something like an asteroid that would be that close to us. That would be an Earth impacting one. Or maybe it's not a killer. Maybe it's one it's going to hit and do minimal damage. And by minimal, I don't mean to be like downplaying it like that, but something that lands in the ocean and takes out Australia. I don't know. I mean, I'm just making something up here, but there's that kind of speculation going on. But I don't understand why he puts that stuff out there. I just think it hurts Ross's cause because Ross does a lot of good work. But I got to tell you something. I'm going to be a little critical real quick. If people look at some of his most recent two videos, I I don't get anything out of those. And people like me, I watch it all. If you name the content, I probably watched it. Um, it's just part of being a UFO nut. You watch it all. I'm not saying I believe it all. Just watch it. I like to see the production quality of it. And he had one where he had three different gentlemen on talking about the UFOs that are being recorded out in Arizona, and they're just mostly providing conjecture. It's stuff that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, and there's no actual footage of the like good footage of this stuff.
Yeah, they showed the rubber duck. They call one the rubber
Yeah.
duck, and then they call one the witch. And it's such bad video. And then they're sitting there, and when they're explained, I thought he was having them on to give like scientific explanation of what they are, and they're sitting around just spewing the same stuff that you and I would spew about, just like conjecture in the UFO community and hobnobbing it. I don't really understand what they're talking about. And then this most recent video he released in the last 24 hours, he had this guy on, and this guy, I mean, he is rambling. I mean, he rambles worse than me, and he's just talking about stuff like random and, oh, I can't remember who told me this, and I don't have. And he mentions people in it that are his source of information that have been known to, like, be part of fake things and support fake things. So I don't know, like his last couple weeks production stuff and some of that stuff out of Arizona, I was just not impressed with. I don't know if he's just scraping the bottom of the barrel and he's just like, I got to get out to Arizona just to keep some content flowing. And in that case, I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah, I'm sure he has to provide a minimal amount of UFO
It's not
content
always going to be
because that's
groundbreaking,
what
right?
he's hired for. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like us where it's a wrestling channel. We're throwing out UFO stuff here and there because it interests me. They've got to put out a certain amount of UFO
Right.
content a week, whether the news is there or not. And sadly, it does water it down for people like us.
Yes. And that is a perfect perspective, is because like we're wanting it up here all the time, right? Top quality, top content, groundbreaking, always earth shattering. And so yeah, sometimes we probably do need tech perspective because he can't put out A plus all the time, right? You're going to get some B plus, some B minus work, and as long as it averages out okay. I'm just saying the last couple weeks stuff, it was okay.
Sage Pup talking about an alien interview book by Matilda Elroy. I've seen a lot of these alleged alien interviews. And I don't know, maybe some of them give you good perspective on stuff and good
Mm-hmm.
messages and different ways of thinking, but I don't buy any of them for whatever reason. And I feel some of them that I've listened to for a while, I just feel that it's been a waste of time. Like that Area 52 guy did a reading of some alleged alien uh, interview thing, and I'm just like, in the end, I felt like I wasted my time. The guy
Yeah.
had some credibility to me, and I'm thinking,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'll give it a shot, but there wasn't much to it, I found. I don't know about you with these alleged alien interviews.
Yeah, if there's one out there, I mean, I know that there's people that talk about their encounters and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, I I need more than that, I guess. I think it could be very creative, but I don't. There's just so many accounts of people that are even talking about abduction stuff, and
Yeah.
we've not fully understood the dream state, where our mind can go in dream state, what can happen during sleep paralysis. For anyone that's never, and I've had situations. Now it's been a while. I used to have the sleep paralysis situation. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I'm just locked in like my bed and I can't move, but I'm somewhat semi coherent, and you see things. And I just don't think people fully understand the mind and how the places it can venture, in a dream state. So that, or I think some of these people with the abductions and these stories of where they speak to aliens and stuff like that, we're human. I think some of these people, you have to put up a shred of potential that maybe they were just up to something they shouldn't have been up to, and this was a convenient story. I have, and I've heard that thrown out. I heard that thrown out this week, and I meant to bookmark it. Somebody in the community brought that up and said, "How many times do you think people who are on these abduction trails just got into some shit they didn't want to divulge, and this was a useful story out of it?" Like somebody mentioned in the comments, Travis Walton. Maybe him and his buddies got into no good with something, and this was the best way to kind of come up with like the Walter White fugue state, right? You know, they were out there cooking in the desert, right? And they had to come up
Yeah.
with a reason.
He's made a lot of money off of that story too. And if a lot of people have pointed out, if you look at his interview with me and Joe Rogan's, he
Mhm.
did tell some parts of it differently.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I mean, you saw the video I put out this week where I
With
just
Bob
noticed that.
Lazar, was it?
Yeah, with Bob Lazar. And and Joe says all the time, Joe Rogan talks about, oh, he's never changed his story. He never has. I posted this week. Again, you can check my TikTok and X account out. I posted a video this week clearly showing a contradiction because this video popped up. And I don't know, maybe I had missed it, but it was from a 1997 interview with Bob Lazar. I'd never watched it before. He's sitting there in a red shirt, never seen it before. It just pops up on YouTube. Now I know there's the Bob Lazar stuff coming out this year with S4 and the documentary. So maybe that was thrown out there to start getting some buzz going again about his name. But he tells Joe very specifically how compartmentalized everything was out in S4. I mean, it was very compartmentalized. He was not allowed to touch the other craft. He was put on one craft and he was only allowed to work on that one craft. And he's very specific about that. And he even says that in the Joe Rogan interview, he's like, I didn't know much about the operation of any of those other craft. He says that word for word. In the 1997 interview, he tells the
Well,
guy
it's
he's specific.
26 seconds, so let's
Okay,
just
yeah,
share the screen on it
great.
because that is working. So why not? Let's go. Let's open it up here, folks.
How many
Yeah.
of these things did they have?
They had nine craft altogether. I only got hands on with one of them, so I can't really say what how the others operated.
Did you see?
That I particularly worked on?
So you don't have any idea whether the other craft came from different systems or they were all from the same system? You have no idea about that?
Well, I do know for a fact that the power and propulsion system in all the crafts were the same.
So
Yeah.
there you
So,
go.
yeah, I mean, he specifically said, and I mean, that's a major, people have to understand that's not just like, oh, well, maybe he just, this is a major part of his story. One of the major parts of his story is compartmentalized work in S4. It has to be compartmentalized. So again, why would he say that all the craft have the same propulsion system, but then tell Joe, I only knew about my one craft. I don't know what the hell those other things were doing. So I don't know. Maybe we're lost up in the semantics of the terms that he's using or something. I know Lisa's saying that she believes Bob Lazar's story. Look, I still lean that way too. And the only reason I do is because I'm pretty sure, I'll have to double check this, I actually give some credence to polygraph tests. I'm pretty sure he passed them. I don't think he failed them. I know I brought that up to you this week about finding the documentary. And again, maybe I looked over it. Again, I wasn't as closely following the Chris Bledsoe story years ago, but, Discovery did a polygraph test on Chris Bledsoe and aired it on television, and he failed it. But, Bob Lazar, I'm pretty sure he passed his. So I do tend to lean towards Bob Lazar's story. I'm just calling out that fact that, people like to say he's perfect in his story and presentation. No, he's not. He has inconsistencies as well. Maybe that's just part of it when you're trying to recall something from 30 years ago.
And I can tell you there are some wrestlers that lie about stories and can lie year after year after year. It is possible, folks, especially if you're like Travis Walton, who has literally made a living off of this story. Like, he's at Contact in the Desert this weekend, is he not? Like, this
I don't know.
guy's still making money.
I'm pretty sure he would be. And
there was some weird stuff about him when I met him. That's all I can say. And then the discrepancy with my interview and Joe Rogan, I think he said in mine that he never touched them, but in Rogan's, he said he did have some contact with the aliens when he was trying to fight them off. So, there is some inconsistencies.
Yeah, and I'm okay to give people like Lazar a pass if they're making small inconsistencies, like, but something big like that, I think you would know. And again, you have to put yourself in the context of what he's talking about. He is talking about 9 alien spacecraft. You either know if you got to see them and be near them or get information on them, or you don't. And I'm sorry, it's just that clear. And when you tell people, I don't know anything about the other craft but one, and then you come in and say, yeah, I do, and they all have the same engine.
2025, he's still making money off of this.
Oh, so he is there. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I didn't know that. I didn't know he was still out there kind of doing his thing. Okay.
And doing paid interviews. I know that he charges a fee for his interview. I'm sure. Well, I don't know what Joe Rogan pays or doesn't pay, but he definitely charged me for my interview.
Wow.
And the one weird thing about Travis Walt, there's numerous, but one weird thing is he came in with all these books and DVDs. And I thought, okay, well, he's either going to give me the book and the DVD or he's going to put them up in the background. And he left with them. I'm like, what the hell? What the hell is this? You come in with all these books as if you're going to give me a free signed book or something. But it's like he didn't even do anything with the books. I found that very weird. It's like, okay, I'm just going to bring them in, maybe to make you want to buy them. I had already read them, obviously, to prepare for the interview. But
maybe he was traveling with merch, man. You were supposed to show up with a posse.
It was in his hometown. I don't know if I've ever told you the story, but it was in his town. It was the weirdest thing ever. I had been working on him for a while. He said, come to Snowflake, Arizona, which I was on my way to drive to Las Vegas from Phoenix. Snowflake is quite a detour. Then he said, stay at these cabins. This would be a good place to film. Muhammad Ali trained here for a fight, and because he knew I was a wrestling guy. He was a boxing fan, so he's like, you got to stay at these cabins. Muhammad Ali trained here. I'm like, okay. So I've been talking to him for months. The morning of, because again, this is like 6 hours up in the mountain, literally up in the mountains. And I'm like, are you sure you're going to be there? Just double checking, because this is quite a detour for me. We get there and he stops answering his phone. The interview was supposed to be at like 2 p.m. I'm going nuts here. I'm actually like ready to find him and destroy him at this point because I'm like, this is not a. The cabin was also very expensive. There's very little place to stay. It was like I could have gone to Vegas for a convention where I could have got other interviews. So I just felt like at this point in time he was really wasting my day. Anyway, finally, about 6 p.m., keep in mind the interview was supposed to be at 2. He answers the phone. He's like, oh, I forgot about it. I'll be right there. Then at 8 p.m., I still don't hear from him.
He was abducted.
Yeah, that's what everyone was saying that was with me because I brought a crew up there too. At 8 p.m., oh, I got lost. I can't find it. I'm like, you're the one that told me about this place. So I finally, around 9:30, he tells me to meet him in the parking lot of some bar in Snowflake, and he's like, I'll follow you from this bar. He did have the same truck that he had driven that the morning of the thing. That was kind of cool. But here's the thing. I didn't know what to expect, but he was actually there 9:30. It was supposed to be at 2. And he actually did the interview. So the people wondering why I sounded a bit tired during that interview, that had been a roller coaster day for me.
Oh
but
my
I think
gosh,
that interview is almost 1 million hits now. But anyways, he did the interview. But like, keep in mind, I planned this for months, chose his cabin, and then he pulls this disappearing act, which again, that like put my trust of him in question a little bit.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, and again,
he shows up with this pack of books and DVDs.
He had his merch, man.
Yeah, but it's like, I guess maybe I had to offer to buy it if I wanted it. I don't know.
Yeah, you were supposed to buy him out, buy some more merch, or have your crew buy some merch from him. I don't know. Traveling with merch, I guess that's something that.
The one member of my crew that was not a believer at all. He was just doing this for fun. A friend of mine that had a high position in the government for Transport Canada. He said he believed that he went through something traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
That he thinks whatever it was, something traumatic happened to him that day. But my point of bringing in that he charged me for that is he has been making money. He gets royalties from the movie too. He did tell me that. Like, this is a story. This is not something that like he doesn't make money from. This happened in 1975-ish.
Yeah.
And we're now, 50 years later?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, like, I was there is a documentary that I was rewatching this week. I think it's from 79. Yeah, because I was looking up some facts. Somebody had posted on X and said, hey, show us your most convincing UFO photo or photo, not mine, but like, what is the UFO photo that you think is the most convincing? And I had to go hunt it down, and I knew it was in the documentary from 1979. It was the McMinnville photo, and Travis Walton's story is in that documentary in 1979. So yeah, it's got to be at least mid 70s, I would think, somewhere back around then. But yeah, I've heard it a lot, and all I would say is I'm pretty sure there's a video out there about body language with him. That they call out some questionable things with Travis Walton as well. So, kind of, yeah, that's.
And
the
I don't know if I
McMinnville.
ever saw this, so that's interesting.
Yeah, there's
That's a
actually
close-up
two.
of it?
Yeah, there's 2 photos of it. I don't think that's the one. Not that one. That one, and then there's another one where you can see more of the top of it. And the cool thing about it is, there was 2 photos done. The McMinnville photo, and then there was another one that looked exactly like it. That was
that
pictured in. No, the one I'm talking about, the first one is McMinnville, but there's another angle to it where you can see a little pointy thing on top. It's almost like a little antenna or something on top of it. Yeah, but yeah, that's kind of like the one over there on the left of your screen, but it's inverted. I don't know why that's kind of upside down, but yeah, it kind of looks like that, but it's the other way around. That's like upside down. But there was the exact same UFO picture taken by someone in France. So you have to think this was back in like the 50s, I believe. And people
Yeah.
are saying, oh, it was a trash can lid. And I'm like, okay, but there's perspective in that McMinnville photo when you look at it. Everything in the foreground is very vivid, bold black. And everything in the far distance is very hazy looking and everything. And this UFO is part of that haze. So it had distance and it had size. So you can't throw a trash can lid up in the air and keep it at a massive size with so much distance. It's just that doesn't work. That's not how this works. So yeah, I don't buy that. I actually think that is a real photo of something. Now, I'm not saying it's alien. I'm just saying, it's a disc. We were testing, trying to fly a disc back then, the Avro car, whatever they called it. Now, I don't think they ever said it got off the ground very high, but, um, I'm just saying, I think that is a photo of something in the sky. I don't know, alien or our own tech or an adversary, but yeah.
Two
It's a
different
UFO.
countries before the internet. I mean, that's more than a coincidence.
Yeah, and it was taken, the exact same UFO in McMinnville was in a photo in France like 3 or 4 years later. So again, no internet, not a great way of communicating over there. And someone took a picture of the exact same object. And that one was taken, if I'm not mistaken, the one that was taken in France was done by a military pilot. So it's the exact same thing. And they call it out. If y'all YouTube 1979 UFO documentary, it's going to pop up. It's like the only UFO documentary in 1979. But
So
they actually show a comparison of it in there. Yeah.
Someone's saying we should talk to Carrie Cassidy or Billy Ryan about Bob Lazar. I've interviewed Carrie Cassidy. They're from Project Camelot. They kind of dropped off the radar lately. I know that their channel got demonetized or something due to being too controversial. I don't know. I still have something
that's an interesting
in my
angle.
mind. I remember I was talking to Carrie Cassidy. This is just a funny story that I don't even know if I should share, but it's kind of funny. I'm talking to her. She's what, a good 30 years older than me, 20, 25 years older than me. What would you guess?
Oh, I mean, you're what, 20? You're 25,
Yeah.
Hannibal?
But I'm talking to her, and she's like, oh, let me go do something before we start. She stands up. She's in like a thong, and she goes to get water, something, come back, and I'm just like, I'm just like not expecting that from somebody.
Not quite the Travis Walton experience, was it?
How do you react to that? I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna act normal, but I thought that's all I pretty much remember. That she didn't like Stephen Greer. I remember at one point they were like aligned, but they'd also had a falling out, and I may have to repost that because it's been a while. But what do you think about Project Camelot? They were a big thing just before COVID. Then it kind of fell off the radar.
Oh, I actually said that. Sorry, that got posted as you and a whole bunch of other people. Sorry, I was replying to somebody. I thought it would reply as me. No, I don't have.
Yeah.
They're asking if I had a YouTube channel. I don't have one. I'm just hanging out here with Hannibal. So see, isn't that the
He's got
beautiful
a
thing?
TikTok.
I'm not trying. I got a TikTok and I got an X, but I'm not on here trying to sell anything else. I promise.
And he's learning StreamYard.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you could reply as the Hannibal TV too.
Yeah. I don't have a YouTube channel, and it's replying from your YouTube channel.
We are very interactive here. We will say that.
Yeah. But yeah, no. But one more thing I wanted to bring up to you before I forgot about it. Because it just popped up in my bookmarks here. Did you hear what Representative Burleson said again? Remember we were covering him last time, and he was making a lot of waves. he went back on this Tic Tac thing again. Remember, we talked about this, that the Tic Tac may not be. Greer had came out and said that the Tic Tac is Lockheed Martin. He's been saying that all along. And he came out and really upped this claim when he said that Fravor was aware of that. That Fravor knew it's not back then, but he now knows. He's claiming that Fravor now knows that the Tic Tac is not alien and that it was Lockheed Martin. Well, now Representative Burleson has come out, and Ross even retweeted about it, Ross Coulthart, and Representative Burleson is pretty much saying that there's some type of Lockheed Martin propulsion system out there that may be making something that's a new type of propulsion that would be on the Tic Tac UFO. So again, that is crazy, because just think about that. That is what pulled so many people into this topic. Now, I was into this topic, and I'm pretty sure you were too, Hannibal, before the Tic Tac, right? I mean, we were interested in this.
Oh yeah,
Well,
I got
before
interested in 2014.
Yeah, so you were
maybe even 2012 actually.
But how many people that are listening right now and want to comment here, just put pre-Tic Tac or after Tic Tac? Because I'm curious, because I guarantee you right now there's a lot of people that didn't get interested until after the Tic Tac, and that's fine. Look, we had Pavel here on the show. Pavel has a huge following on Psychoactivo. He is one of the big names in this space. He's been on with us twice, and even Pavel says, 2017 is kind of what got him into this. So, that is something that launched people into it. And now when people find out that you have Greer who broke that it's Lockheed Martin, now you have Representative Burleson saying that it could be Lockheed Martin, that he's hearing it is. I mean, that's wild. And that now you have a government official and you have somebody who's apparently got government contacts, and they're saying this. So I still want to see the video, though. I want to see a video of Fravor admitting that. I've not seen that. That does not exist yet, where Fravor is saying, yeah, I know it's government made.
And he's been out in the public promoting that movie that we were talking about, The Age of Disclosure. And he hasn't been asked about that. But our fans are pre mostly. Yeah, Fravor. He hasn't really been out in the public much, other than a few appearances promoting that movie.
I wonder if he's at Contact in the Desert. I don't know. I
don't think so. I really don't think David Fravor is making money off of this. I truly believe that he doesn't want to talk about this other than to like the Joe Rogans of the world, because he said all there is to say about it, really.
Or this new information that's come out, and he just does not want to answer questions about it. Because if he does anything right now, the very first question he's going to get is, was the Tic Tac Lockheed Martin? We're hearing people say that it's now Lockheed Martin. I think that's why sometimes silence speaks louder, right? And us not hearing from Fravor, and no one in the big group is asking for him. And you have to understand that there is this theory out there, and I've been told that it's. I even heard it one time, and I don't want to name the person because I kind of got in a dust up with them on their podcast, not on their podcast, but behind the scenes, because they were running a podcast on YouTube, and they were starting to gain notoriety, and then they started turning it into like a clickbait channel, and now they've tried to swap back to not doing clickbait. But in that dust up, we were kind of talking about this scenario of what happens whenever these guys come out with something, and like with the Tic Tac, and no one's asking for them, no one's talking to them, no one's asking for them to come forward and give their story. What is up with that? And that this person claimed that there is a insider group. They have their own email chain, they have their own means of communication, and it's like this group of insiders that are, I know we've heard the term gatekeepers, right? The gatekeepers, the big gatekeepers, those are the ones like MJ12 type stuff, where these are the government gatekeepers that they know the goods and they protect the message. But then inside the UFO community, there's apparently another set of gatekeepers that like try to control the narrative of the current disclosure conversation and things like that. And this host said that he was invited to that group and he declined because he didn't want to be part of it. But apparently there is an insider group. I don't know, Hannibal, if you've ever been invited to it, but apparently there is some, maybe they feel like you do too much wrestling, but there's an insider group that try to control the message. And sometimes I believe that when you see stuff like this is you would think all the big names that are out there in ufology would just be calling up Fravor right now. So let me give you, for example, who Corbell and Knapp. Corbell and Knapp have had Fravor on their show, I believe, more than once, at least once. And it was here recently, within maybe the past 5-6 months.
Yeah, I remember that episode, actually.
Yeah, and they were kind of revisiting some of the stuff. You know, why not clean this up really quick? I mean, because this is making major waves. It's not just, okay, you don't want to acknowledge Dr. Greer, Jeremy Corbell. Okay, I get it. You never say his name. You never talk about him. He's Voldemort, and he who must not be named. Okay, fine. But Representative Burleson isn't somebody you can ignore. And he's now coming out talking about Lockheed and Tic Tac. So you got to clear this up. And you have a contact with David Fravor, like pull him back on the show. Hey, man, people are talking shit about you and saying that, well, not much of shit, but they're saying that it's Lockheed. What say you? Because all these people are talking for you. And let David Fravor clear it up. It would be like a 10-minute podcast. And let's just clear this up. But no one's calling him forward. And it's just festering, man. It just looks bad. This could be cleared up in like 5 minutes.
The one thing where I lose respect for Corbell is when he talks about what a supreme martial artist he is, and the only thing that like shows up when you search him for martial arts is like this yoga martial arts gimmick that he did. Like, you can't find any fights of him online. You see this video game thing he did something for, and this karate yoga type thing. So, but
Yeah.
he acts like he's some sort of tough guy. That's just the one thing where I lose respect for him on. It's like, you did karate yoga, for crying out loud. Stop acting like you're this big tough guy.
Yeah.
It's like Greer bragging about the 400 pounds every chance he gets. But yeah.
and like Sage said, I kind of agree with that. You know, he's saying he likes George and not sure about Jeremy. That's always kind of how I felt. Is being pretty rock solid. And George will respond, as you saw this week. You saw George respond to me on a tweet.
Yes.
You know, and
that was cool.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe you could pull that video up and we could remind people and show people that video, because that George was in a documentary in the late 90s, and they show a video that they said was from a leaked Area 51 video. That is how it is presented in the documentary. It is one of the best videos. I personally believe it's the best video in ufology. And if people watch it, you see the craft very clearly. It is so clear, and you see the craft moving in weird ways and doing this stuff. And you see all the radar data that normally we saw in the Tic Tac UFO and stuff. There's radar data on it because they said it was captured by a military camera, or a military system. It's the best video out there. I'm sorry, hands down. And they said it's leaked from a high-ranking military official from Area 51 that they blacked out. And you can't see him. You can only hear his, distorted voice. So what the hell happened to that guy? Why are we not hunting down that video? That's the best video that's ever come out. And so I tagged George on X and said, George, like, can you answer some questions about this? You're in this document. Now, he wasn't presenting this video. He's right before it. But I'm like, do you know who this guy is? Can you help us out here? Like, can we hunt down this informant? What? And George clears it up, and George is like, well, first and foremost, I don't know who the informant was. I was in the documentary, but I don't know who it was. And he says it's probably not Area 51 where it was shot. It was probably shot at Nellis Air Force Base. And somebody replied to my video on TikTok and said the same thing before George even told me that. They were like, this didn't happen at Area 51. It happened at Nellis. But anyways, it's like one of the best videos out there. And I will.
Is there any way you can send me that link and I'll put it up? Because for some reason I'm not finding it. We'll just take, because it sounds.
Do you want me to send it to you from
Instagram? Or to X is fine. To the H. Nicholson one. The H. Nicholson one. I don't have the other one on this computer.
Oh, okay, got you.
Yes, someone saying it could be anything, aliens, ghosts, demons from another dimension. A lot of people, I don't quite understand the people that think UFOs are demons. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I don't know why demons would need ships. I don't deny the existence of demons and demonic possession. That could be possible. I've definitely, in my years of security, seen some people get what appears to be like superhuman strength and different look in their eyes, but I don't know if I believe, like, for instance, the Tic Tac is a demon. But
and I mean, I've heard the only other time I think I've heard that is in the Elizondo claim.
Yeah,
you know. So, are you wanting me to send it to you on your X account?
Yes. Yeah. I'll share the screen here.
All right. I just sent it to your H1.
Someone checking in from Colorado. I've been to Colorado twice in the past 2 weeks. Had some great sushi there. Here we go. Perfect.
If you play this video, if people have not seen this. This is from a 1997 documentary called UFOs: The Best Evidence Ever Caught on Tape. I think it's free on Prime. It's free on YouTube.
Yeah.
This video is insanity. And I'll never forget the day, like 2 or 3 years ago, I watch it, and I'm watching this documentary because sometimes you have to step back into these old ones to find any good video.
Anonymously to avoid government reprisals.
Let me play it to the
Never
start
before
here.
emissaries who try to scare people out of getting too close. Area 51, Nevada, 1993. This astonishing footage was leaked from the secret base by a high-ranking military source.
Now it starts kind of but it gets really good.
Anonymously to avoid government reprisals. Never before seen on primetime television.
Look at that.
It reportedly documents a UFO encounter.
Go find me something that has better clarity than that shot on a military camera.
Transmitting against a target, a metallic target.
They show more of it.
Reflecting information. Nothing was supposed to be there at that time. These were not any military type of test.
The object appears to transform into unusual shapes.
I mean, you can even almost tell it's metallic. You can see detail
as
on
if to
it.
avoid pursuit.
It's definitely a military.
The numbers in the upper corner document the distance covered by the unknown object. At one point, the UFO travels nearly 13 miles in 6 seconds.
The object on this tape makes extremely rapid velocity changes and cornering maneuvers that are not possible with any aircraft we have on the planet today.
So, I mean,
circular movement there.
That's if we, let's just cut that and say if we showed that today and we said, look what just got captured.
There you go, folks. You responded to him right there.
Yeah, George got back. So, hey, I mean, credit George. Like, so people are saying, hey, I like George Knapp, but I don't know about Jeremy Corbell. I mean, George will respond to you. But
I agree with you on that. Corbell has had some interesting stuff, but to me, the arrogance level on him is almost—it's like you haven't reached Knapp's level yet, and you already act more arrogant than Knapp. But maybe he'll lose some of that. But he does have some stuff. And the other thing with him is the dragging stuff out, like that recent episode we just watched with that whistleblower that was dragged into 2 episodes. And it was a lot. It was really dragged out. It could have easily fit into 1, in my opinion. But I don't hate him or anything. I just find this.
No, I don't hate
this,
him either.
The attitude
Yeah.
sometimes is a turn off. And George Knapp is the star, man. Stop acting like you're the star. You're riding his coattails.
Right. George is the man. And, but when I asked George about that, I mean, that just mystifies me, right? Here, it's low hanging fruit. Okay. You're wanting a government insider, right? And this was kind of why I was asking George. Now I get George's replied to me and said that he didn't know who that insider was. Well, who was on the production staff? Who asked you to be in the documentary? And maybe we follow up with them and ask them like, hey, who was that guy? Or was that just for production quality? I don't know. It just, if that is true, what is in that documentary, and they say that they had a government informant give them that from Area 51, which George is saying is probably more Nellis Air Force Base than Area 50. Or, I get those mixed up because when you look on a map, there's Nellis Air Force Base, but then there's Nellis Testing Range, I believe. And Nellis Testing Range is pretty much all that shit north of Las Vegas. Area 51, all the way up to like Indian Springs is the furthest south. You go north to Papoose Lake, you go a little east, you're at Area 51, and then you go head out west to Tonopah, and then there's some stuff in between. But Nellis Testing Range may be all that. So maybe that's what George meant, because I think George even told me, he said Nellis is massive. So I'm pretty sure he's probably talking about the entire test range of Nellis Testing Range. So not just Nellis Air Force Base there right beside Vegas. So, but anyways, rather than it being right over Area 51. But that just amazes me because that detail of that video, I mean, again, I challenge anybody watching, go find me a better video than that. I'm not seeing it. And you can't come to me with the Tic Tac, because the Tic Tac is just a black ball on a screen. Okay. And I'm not downplaying that. I think the Tic Tac is still a cool video, even though they think it's Lockheed, but you can't see anything on it. It's just a black blob on a screen. We can't tell anything about it. Go find me one where you can see the sun glaring off of it. Like you can tell it's metallic. You can tell detail of it. Go find me any video that is better than that. I challenge people. You won't. There's not one out there. I mean, not a real one, or not at least said to be a real one. Now, this is pre-AI, right? Some pretty cool stuff is coming out now. But I've just never seen video that clear. And that's where it blows my mind. Like, how did we let someone like that slip through the cracks as an investigative journalist? If I'm an investigative journalist and I find out I'm getting ready to do a documentary with a guy who says he's an informant from Area 51 and he was a high-ranking military official and he turned over this video of this amazing UFO, I'm hunting that bastard down. Like, he's not going to slip through my fingers, because that guy right there, I mean, that's huge. And no, he's just gone. We don't know who that informant was. We don't know where the video went, who it came from. It's on some, archive now somewhere. It blows my mind. So everybody I showed that video to, they're like, was that just recent? And I'm like, no, it's from the 90s. It was, almost 30 years ago.
Yeah, and it obviously wasn't picked up mainstream. It was just some sort of investigation show.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
I don't know. We got any good comments that we need to go back through? Did I miss anything?
Lots of religious comments.
Ooh, we need to have a religion show.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm trying. I have tried, just to let people know.
Yeah.
I have tried, Hannibal, to get Diana Pasulka. Diana Pasulka talks, and I've read her books. She did the ones of Encounters. She did the one of American Cosmic, and she gets into the religiosity, as she calls it, of it's like a religion, right? UFO can be like a religion. Faith without seeing, right? Right. Yeah. You've never seen an alien. You have probably never seen a flying disc, but you believe they're real, right? Well, how do you believe they're real? You just multiple accounts, and you just have a feeling or the faith that it's there. So
daily research.
Yeah. So I am trying to hunt her down. I have messaged her on LinkedIn. I have emailed her. I don't think she's doing a lot right now. I don't even think she's at Contact in the Desert, but I would love to talk to her. So, I mean, that just to bring that perspective of the spiritual connection to that, because we've covered some of the stuff from her book on this show, and there's some interesting stuff to it for sure.
Someone bringing up a Rendlesham Forest incident. I actually got Nick Pope's book on it.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the 3 Nick Pope books that I have, this is the most boring one. I will have to say. I really liked his abduction book.
Mm-hmm.
The Rendlesham Forest, amazing incident though.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's talked about so much on it's one of those things where it comes up so much. And I've heard it 1,000 times. Definitely interesting, but it's a lot of back and forth on that too. But I've not heard anything like debunk that or what really happened there. All I heard was somebody talking about, that's what brought up our conversation about the military lasers that are confirmed that can be shot to a distance and they can transmit audio and things like that. Because somebody got to talking about that as potentially what could have been going on at Rendlesham. Did they have something like that back then where they could project something out in the distance and it would show up as a light or a plasma and it would transmit through its beam an audio message? For people that think that's crazy, that's happening now. There's confirmed video of that.
Nick Pope did mention to me he thought that there was going to be some declassified documents related to Rendlesham Forest in 2025. So I hope that happens, and nobody knows more about that case that wasn't there that night other than Nick Pope, who I should have back on again. It's been a while. Yeah,
Nick Pope is the version over there of what we have here of like Richard Dolan, right? He's like the historian. Him and Nick Pope I really like him and Richard Dolan because they kind of stay out of the drama. They really don't get into any of this squabbling that goes on into the community. They'll go sit down beside Greer at a panel and talk with him, and then they'll go sit down beside Jeremy Corbell at a convention and talk beside them, or Lou Elizondo. They don't get caught up in any of the mudslinging. Yeah.
It is funny though, and I didn't ask Nick about it, but sometimes they'll have Nick Pope and Stephen Greer on a news show together. Mm-hmm. And the news is just a regular news show, and they have no idea about the politics of UFOs. So they'll be discussing it as if everybody in the UFO industry agrees with everybody, which I didn't even know, by the way, until I was about 3 or 4 years into it, just how deep the politics run. But I appreciate everyone's comments today. We'll be back next week. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on? As Lisa says, one of the main guys from Rendlesham Forest has done a live hypnosis regression. I don't know about those regressions. I've had a hypnosis regression and I'm not fully sold on it, but I'd be open to doing more. But the person that offered me the free one said I'd have to pay for another one. So I don't know if I want to know that badly.
Yeah, they did one in that I was talking about with Chris Bledsoe. They did one on him as well in that episode, the one where he failed the lie detector test or the polygraph. They did one on him as well. The only other thing I would say that came out weird that we just briefly jumped over, and we can get into it more on the next episode, is Danny Sheehan calling out Skywatcher. That's really interesting. That's a big rub there for those that's covered Danny Sheehan. He's like the guy that knows everything. And, he's talking about Skywatcher being privately invested, and he thinks they'll be more focused on getting patents and things like that. And he's very cautious of Skywatcher. That's interesting. And that's interesting news because there's a lot of us being skeptical of Skywatcher, and it's for a good reason, but we'll keep an eye on them. If people aren't following what they're doing.
And he supported Greer in the past, Sheehan.
And he's got away from him. Yeah. He got away. He got away from him. Oh yeah. He was with him, and then people have asked him about that, and then he's like, yeah, you could tell he was like distancing himself from Greer because he started representing Lou. Remember, he started representing Lou Elizondo, and then I think he got away from representing Lou as well. So I don't know. Danny's kind of an odd guy, but I mean, he's also got a lot to him as far as like his past and what he's done in the field. Different things with Iran Contra, and I mean he's been involved in a lot of things on exposing the truth of things. But for him to come out and really smack down Skywatchers, you have to understand who he's going after there. Ross Coulthart is a big component of that, right? Because he did the story of Jake Barber, who is Skywatcher.
And if you don't know who Danny is, he's got the famous hair.
White fluffy hair, yep. And he Danny also Skywatcher is supported by Dr. Gary Nolan. So you see Dr. Gary Nolan in a lot of production. The guy that's running a lot of the FaceTime for this movement, Skywatcher movement, he just did a Jesse Michaels documentary as well. So, Skywatcher's getting a lot of notice, but they're also getting called out quite a bit. And the big thing was this week was a Danny Sheehan call out, and then them posting birds, a V formation of birds flying, and they're trying to say it's some kind of Tetra class UAP that can reshape itself and it has some kind of mimicry or something. I don't know, but we'll kind of keep an eye on that too. So.
Someone checking in from Hawaii. I was there for my birthday this past year. Had a great time.
Kona Blue.
Thank you, fans, for checking in. By the way, Casey's is a big bourbon connoisseur, and he is going to do a bourbon live stream at some point.
That's right,
folks.
That's right. I meant to be sitting here sipping one, but I'm sipping my wild cherry Pepsi Zero. But yeah, we will post bourbon. I was meant to get it up this week, but we will for the bourbon lovers
I'm
out
drinking
there.
This lovely glass of water.
Yeah, those are my two hobbies, is the UFO alien topic and then bourbon. So if you do jump on my X, you're going to probably see something like 50-50, 60-40 of like UFO alien stuff and then bourbon related stuff because I'm in the South. I'm in bourbon country down here in the South, and it's a big thing. And a lot of people like bourbon. So, but we're going to do a little different angle. We're going to try it out on the channel here where we kind of do a matchup, almost like a wrestling themed matchup of the bourbon, right? Put two bourbons in the ring and see which one comes out victorious. No holds barred, right? But yeah, hopefully within the next week or so, we'll get that posted. So,
and we can actually do polls on this channel too. So you could do your thing, and then the fans that want to actually vote, we could actually do a poll as well. Well, I'm checking out. I wish everyone a great weekend, and we'll see you again next week. Thanks for filling me in, Casey, on everything going on.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.